Personally, have known him from a distance until recently, and it's been a joy to get to know him personally now. Of course, we saw him in Nanban, we saw him in Guru, we saw him in Life of Pi. Of course, we've seen him in the social circles in Chennai from a distance. It's a small social community in Chennai that we all interact in, meet each other, and Karthik was one of them who we would often see but never got down to sitting down and talking to him. What stayed with us all these years has been a memorable performance by Karthik in a play for Avam that he did in Coimbatore in 2006. We were visiting Coimbatore and somebody said there's a play and let's go watch it, and we went and watched that, and that performance stays in my mind. I don't remember the play, but I do remember Karthik's performance in that play, and it was great fun. So for the longest time I thought Karthik's specialization is in comedy, until another dear friend who has also been a guest on my show, Theatre Nisha's Bala, had Karthik doing a very serious role in a play called Flowers. Am I right, Karthik? Flowers. And that's when I sat up and said, how can a comedian do a very serious role? Only recently, when we met Karthik a few months ago, we asked him, so when did you shift from comedy to serious stuff? And he said, when did I move out in the first place? I was all along an actor, and comedy was just a part of it. And he went on to talk about his life to us. It was the most profound conversation that Vani and I have had, and we said, please do join us at the Artist Soul, and that's how he's here with us today. We found in him a very genuine person. We found in him a person deeply passionate about the art form. And we found in him a sense of joy in what he's doing. He's very natural. And there are two kinds of people. There are people that you will see who present themselves as something else but are something else. But in Karthik's case, it's the other side, which is you get what you see. And so let us see what we have today. And let me invite Karthik to join me here. Of theatre and films. It's 25 years now. And so my first question to you is, how does it feel when you did your first play in 1993, which I believe was a Tamil play, and now when you are on the Artist Soul bar stool? This, by the way, he's the only second guest to sit on a bar stool here. A little bit of trivia. The other one was also an actor, which is P.C. Ramakrishna.
Hello. Am I audible? Yeah, I'm a teetotaler, but...
but a bar stool is still welcome. You're most comfortable. You're also perhaps the only person to... this might be a record, which is that wearing a panchakajam and sitting on a bar stool. That too in public, right? So this might quite well be a record. So how does it feel? 25 years, opening thoughts?
Well, if you look at the... Tamil Peslam.
Tamil Peslam.
Okay, look at the audience. All the other audience you know where I am. So, number of years, numbers so that is probably a reflection of theatre and reflection of a lot of other things in our life. But actually, the number 25 is something which I realized thanks to you. I didn't count that number. But the one thing which I can say is that I'm still searching. I don't feel like anything has happened. I've still not done that play. I've still not done a play. I've done a lot of shows.
Okay.
I don't think I've done a play yet. I'm still searching, and something is that angst is still there. What have I done? I've done shows. Have I done a play which I'll take to my grave? Not yet.
Okay, so that's Karthik for you. Straight off the bat, we were talking about Gail's performance wherever he's playing right now. This is straight off the bat, and that's Karthik for you. I think that sense of incompletion, that sense of seeking, that quest, isn't that a very characteristic trait of an evolved artist? Do you call yourself an evolved artist?
Yeah, I think that's the difference between an entertainer and an artist. An entertainer is looking for an audience response and an audience validation. And unfortunately, all of us do fall for that. It's how good I am as a performer is how good the audience thinks. how many Facebook likes and posts do I have, and how many times my shows are shared on YouTube. That's what makes an entertainer. But how many times have I gone back and thought about the show I did? And that's what makes an artist. So, yes, I think if you're an artist, you get, the cliche is that you will never be satisfied. But I'll take it to the next level. Don't then go try find something which will satisfy you. Don't keep saying you're not satisfied. That quest is very painful. Unfortunately, it's dictated by the commercial world. Because what the stories that I want to say, the world may not want to hear. Or the world may not want to host. Because what's a show without somebody hosting it? So that's probably the sad truth of reality. But in spite of this, I managed to find glimpses of things that I want to talk about. Flowers, for example, is one example. A story which I was very passionate about. So I'm hoping that if every year, if I'm able to start the year searching and end the year either hoping that I'll find it the next year, then my process is going on well.
Beautiful. I totally second what you said. In fact, in our lives, we will do well if we internalize this and ask ourselves, are we entertainers or are we artists? Within each one of us, there is an artist that is waiting to express, that is waiting to unfold, to unravel, to express yourself to the world. And yet, we are caught in the trapping of the real world, where the likes, the amount of critique you get, the amount of acclaim you get, the amount of money you make draws you away, in whatever field you are. I'm not talking only about performing artists. So I think that's a crucial difference. And once you understand who you are, then it becomes a lot easier to play the game of life, to live life to the fullest. But you eventually, you've done 25 years. You started in 1993. You're here in 2018, still doing a lot of quality work in the theatre space, doing films that come your way, doing justice to even the smallest of roles that you get. But you never really set off wanting to become an actor in that sense. If I remember right, you ran away from school on days when there was going to be play casting or there was a performance coming up. You were, by your own definition, an introverted, shy, timid sort of person. What happened to you at that time, and why were you that person?
This is a question which I've asked myself, and unfortunately I was expecting a few of my schoolmates, but they are not here. But yes, I was a very big introvert, and in fact there are times when I used to have my lunch inside the classroom. I didn't want to be seen by people. I felt there's either something wrong with me or something different about me, and I was embarrassed being in front of people.
Wow.
If a teacher asks me a question, I'll get up an answer. You'll never see me volunteering. I'll take it up. Or you can say it's a lack of initiative. You can say it's introvert. I'll give you another example. I'm in sports, I'm a left-hander. And I used to play right-handed in school. Why? Because I thought if I play left-handed, people will think I'm doing it to show off. That is the level to which, and I used to get out, and people who used to play at home will come and say, I couldn't. I mean, I thought, show off, because left-handers are always rare. And I curb myself, I'm going to be right-handed, because people will think I'm showing off. And like I said, yes, whenever there's a play in school, for some reason my teachers would call me to come and act. And that the day of audition, the day of selection, I will bunk school. I didn't want to be on stage. I was very clear about it, and I think everybody in my family were achievers. One cousin I just gave you as an example. Everybody around me were achievers, and I always thought that I can never be at that level. And so I'm always following, because of the three families living together, we were the youngest family, so we were always looking up to the other families, and so we always used to get what they didn't get. So I thought that was life.
Did you talk to anyone about this at that time?
No, I never thought it was abnormal.
Okay.
That's only I thought that is how it was. It's only much later when I went back and looked at my life, which unfortunately a lot of us do. I realized, why was I like this? But then maybe that's why I'm like this, because I was like, incidentally, I'm still an introvert. It's only when you see 10 people, 20 people in front of me, I open up. Given a choice, I'll finish my show. I don't go for parties and stuff, and I just go home. I'll be in my room.
You still call yourself an introvert.
Completely
But
introvert.
then you lead corporate audiences, you get people to loosen up, you get people to open up, share, all of that you do.
That's because I put in that spot.
Okay.
I have to create a situation for me to express. By nature, you won't see me open up. Most plays, when it happens in Chennai, there was always a cast party. Gopi knows that. Gopi is sitting here. He's, because I'm called, I go. But otherwise, I won't hang around. With the films also, I don't hang around. So I'm very introverted unless you put me in a situation where survive. Your 30 people are looking at you. Say something.
This is interesting. This is, by the way, the first time he's even talking about these experiences. He did talk to me and Vani about it broadly when he sketched his life journey. There is very little information available on this amazing man on the internet. The one interview that I chanced upon was by Sudesh Kamath.
Oh, that was not me.
That was you. Now don't shout me. The one I finally located, you're saying that's not you?
So another situation when people come and recognize me for films I didn't act in. So.
No. This one specifically was you, and because it talked about a woman sideways, and we come to that question. So I'm even surprised that you say that you're still an introverted person. We'll take that question a little later. But how did this shy, timid Karthik in school really get acquainted finally with the stage? How did that happen? At what stage of your life did that happen?
I think in every human being stage, life, a big tragedy called college happens. Right? And I think once you're in college, I realized that once I was in college, one of the things I shed away is there was an identity which I had built for me. Nobody asked me to be an introvert. Nobody asked me to play right-handed or whatever. But that's an image that I created for myself. So I had to live up to it because that's how you know me. Now when I went to college, I realized nobody knows me. So, I don't have to stay in whatever image of, hey, நீ வந்து பைசா சாப்பிடல நீ வந்து அது எதுவுமே தெரியாது. So I think the college, the thing with college is make sure that you don't attend class. Right? So your mind, school, unfortunately, you have to sit in class. Right? So your mind, along with your body, starts exploring the things around you. Basically, what happened in college was that, incidentally, a semblance of that happened in school. So even in school, I was just Jekyll and Hyde. So at home, I used to do like most of us. I used to do mimicry. At home, acting, Shivaji, MGR, whatever, Kamal, Rajini, whatever. So in school. So people used to know that I imitate my teachers well. Some of my friends who also became my close friends. So the last year of school, they said, hey, school over, exam na munchu pochu, inme internal marks onnum kedaiyadhu. Why don't you imitate your teachers? And I was still tense. So I think that's the first time I performed to about 30 people, my classmates, farewell party, and I was performing, imitating my teachers. And I got a small applause. Then I said, that feels good, right? And college happened, and I was just taken in by that wave, and I was 4 years, I attended culturals. I should say I attended college. So I spent more time representing my college, not for myself. But I think college kind of gave me strangers. And the stranger the people are, the better they get things out of me. And one culturals happened, and there also other people pushed me.
So what kind of stuff were you doing on culturals? Was it like usual stuff like jam and stuff like that, or was it plays?
No, it was, we used to do a lot of ADSAP.
Okay.
That's probably the closest to theatre I've done on college. We used to do skits, obviously, and especially IIT skits. The competition was very good those days.
Mm-hmm.
So skits, ADSAP,
Mm-hmm.
and jam and drum circles and all that we used to attend. But primarily it was ADSAP skit. We used to have a program called Variety Entertainment, where you do a skit, you do a song, you do 6 or 7 different things, and you constantly, whose line is it anyway type of stuff we used to do. My specialization used to be improv. Given a spot, talk about it.
Okay.
Or given
No preparation.
No preparation, because most college cultures, they give you anywhere 6 or 7 minutes to prepare. Right, and the show is only 7 minutes.
Right.
So how do you use time at the same time creatively, and don't try to repeat somebody who was done before.
Right.
The joke today would be something which is about Kapil Dev, maybe, let's say.
Correct.
I can't repeat it because somebody else has done it. So you constantly improvise because you need the audiences to respond. College is all about how the audiences are perceiving you.
So this was the shy kid now coming out into the open and starting to express himself.
Absolutely.
In myriad ways.
And it was I think that phase from going to the cocoon to the butterfly phase was fantastic because when I think about it, it was like something just opened up. Where the hell was it? I myself didn't know.
Was there a trigger? Because if I again recollect our earlier conversation, you did talk about possibly the family going through a very difficult time around then. So was that a trigger to drive you to express yourself differently because you couldn't do stuff at home? You didn't feel completely emotionally comfortable at home in that state?
Yeah, I think I don't say this out too much in public. Theatre for me was escapism. We come from we used to be one of the better known industrial families in Chennai, and we lost everything literally overnight. We were in debt. We were living in my cousin's house. My father still today thinks about him. We didn't have a place to stay basically, and we were all still students. Me and my brothers, we were all students. And it was depressing sitting at home when nothing is going your way and people coming home to the only people who come home are asking for money. And it's people who have gone through it know what it is. That's all. My father, who used to be the king, has to look who's coming in, what do I owe him, and why do I owe him? I don't. Now that you know he's owing you, 20 other people will come. So it was actually a phase where the only option was to get out of home. College will give you something, but the mind was getting, frustrated, like I'm going to depression. Every day I go back to depression. Every day I get up to depression. I don't know whether I'm going to finish my college. I don't see smiles, I don't see games, I don't see cricket, I don't see anything at home. And you're living in somebody else's house. Yeah, maybe an aunt's house, but still somebody else's house. And theatre happened. I was just drawn, and a friend of mine suggested, why don't you just go and meet this guy, he's doing a play. I said, I don't know whether I can do a play, I can do a small sketch. He said, just try it out. And, that was my narcotic. I became an addict. And that's an addiction which I think will be there for life and after. The key trigger moment for me was on the day, for the first time in my life, my dad coming and telling me, I think you have to look after your future. Which he never said in so many years of my life. And you can call it escapism. I ran away. Actually, if you look at it, I ran away. I didn't want to face the problems. I ran away. I didn't run away to drugs or drinks or, crime. I ran away to theatre. That's probably what happened. Yeah.
I think he makes a very, very powerful point there. When you are faced with the reality of your life, there is a tendency for all of us to run away. I ran away from the problem also. I can relate to what he's saying because Vani and I are going through our own bankruptcy, and we're going through exactly the same state that his family has been through. And I do remember running away from the problem, but in my case, and Vani's case, we are also the leaders of the situation. So we can't run away. But I found great joy in immersing myself in writing. And that's how my book came about. Fall Like a Rose Petal happened. My blog started coming every day. I started posting my blog posts every day. And for 10 years, I wrote it on the trot without missing a single day. Because people ask me, how do you get that diligence? How did it happen? And I can totally relate to him. It might have been escapism because it gave an opportunity to shut myself away from everything that was happening and concentrate on every word that I was writing. Every alphabet spoke to me. So I would say that's also immersion. Play discussions and the play readings and all of that was happening, very immersive.
In fact, even today I maintain it. I think the process of doing a play is much more beautiful, interesting, involving, learning than the play itself. Play is just an output. It's not as special as the process, the transformation, the discussions, the fights, the arguments. And at least in the 90s, I can tell you, things are very different now. In the 90s, at least the English theatre world, again Gopi who's here, who knows this, it was a lot more involved. We did theatre for theatre's sake. It was not to get likes. It was actually to make a statement. And so we used to have 6 months, 8 months rehearsals and stuff like that. So even if the play didn't happen, we didn't bother. So actually, during the process, I used to express myself at the level to which people think, hey, argue. But actually the point is all my angst against the system, against, when something goes wrong, we always say that something wronged you. That's the first, only after that you talk about, what you did or didn't do. So all my angst against the world, and that also became the kind of plays I did. All those plays were typical, hitting against the society kind of plays, not the comedies which happened later. So I found my voice in the rehearsal process where every director who questioned me, I thought of him, somebody who's questioning my life, saying, how dare you sitting here in front of me? Do you deserve to be here? And if you're there, what are you going to say? I will tell you what I'm going to say. This is what I want to say. If you want me to say it in your play, I'll do it. But I am going to say what I'm going to say. And my statement is going to be your words, but my thoughts. So, for me, that process, which I still take sacred more than even the play, and which unfortunately the theatre world is losing over time, that for me it taught me life. The rehearsal space, the directors, the co-actors, the environment, and knowing that on day one you're clueless, and 3 months or 4 months down the later, you've actually created a phenomenal product where 300 or 400 people have given up IPLs and cinema and outings and sitting in front of you, wanting to love what you're doing. That is possible because of that
process,
that angst, that process.
That process. So the journey is rewarding. The journey of the art, for art being expressed, is rewarding.
And I can tell you that 50% of the plays I've rehearsed I have not done.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's quite. Is that just a number, or
It's a fact, because it's a financial situation, or somebody's not available, or it's just not the right time for somebody.
But you enjoyed every bit of it.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit. I want to go back to that time in order to pick up the journey again. You said your dad said, "Take care of you. It's time for you to take care of your future," and you must have been quite shocked, and you were dealing with your own inner demons at that time. Is that the reason why you did not consider theatre or acting seriously at a younger age in your life, in terms of a full-time career? You go to IT, right? I mean,
Yes.
For the longest time you worked in IT, about 20 years you worked in IT. So what was the reason that you chose to be in IT and not take up acting as a career?
Actually, in the first few years of doing theatre, I thought of theatre as, my first play was in the US, in fact, a Tamil play. I always thought of theatre something which
So also talk about that play, okay? When you answer this question, also talk, because
so
I think
let me tell you that and then come to this. In 1993, I was in the US, I was in IT, and I was working I was in this place called Nebraska. Omaha, Nebraska. I say Nebraska, these kind of noises happen. that is what Nebraska is all about, right? All strange noises happen in that state. So even there, I saw the power of the Tamil. Within 2.5 square kilometer radius, I found about 25 Tamilians of all the places in the world in Nebraska, right? And we got together, and for Deepavali that year, we said we'll do a play. And what is the play? Play about all of us who come to the US without a clue of what's happening in the US. So that was a play, 1-800. All things were like 1-800 இந்த மாதிரிலாம் நம்பர் நம்பர்னா ஒரு 6 நம்பர் 7 நம்பர் தான் 1-800 அப்புறம் நம்பர்னு சொல்றீங்க லெட்டர்லாம் ஆல்பபெட்லாம் போடுறீங்க so 1-800 rest room to go things which we found very strange, left hand side, right hand side, and all that stuff. So all that were very new for us because that's not the culture we are exposed to, right? So we thought, let's do a induction course for people who come to the US. The play came out to be about 6 hours, by the way. Not started off as a half-hour skit. Because everybody had something, but everything became a big 10-minute piece, right? So we created a 6-hour play, and we realized nobody's going to watch 6-hour play. So we cut the play in between, we had some songs, we had dance. So it was a Deepavali celebration and the best part of the play, it was not the play itself. All the bachelors just had to come. All the married people had to make food and drink for that. So that was that. And coming back to the choice, right? I've always thought of theatre to do, let's have fun and do something else. Or something else is theatre. So I was never thinking on those lines. Somewhere down the line I thought, hey, this is so fascinating. Why don't I go and join Kudupatray or that time the only so-called professional theatre company in Chennai, which supposedly has a full-time thing, was KPP. But KPP looked at me and said, "Nee tyaram matavana." But jokes apart, I didn't have that thread went away when my dad said this. Because I realized that from no more this romantic theatre, all that is, come on, life has told you that your two brothers are still studying. What are you talking about theatre and aesthetic sense and all that bull? You don't even, you're facing debtors every day. Don't do all this crap, So it was actually a necessity. One, financial necessity. Second, social necessity. I didn't want people thinking my family is bankrupt completely. I wanted them to know that, I can do it. It was like, like lots of, when cinema, we look at this and we laugh at things. Cinema is so real. It's actually true. When we look at some of those movies today, I feel like that's not a joke anymore. There it looked very funny. First class la pass idea. Second class la fail avumbodha and the first class la pass idea. I know the value theriyum. Anyway, so I didn't have an option.
You didn't have.
I wanted to go to the US and study, like all of us. I was a reasonably good student. I wanted to go to the US and study, but no way. Who's going to sponsor you? $20,000, that bank guarantee loan, this. Who's going to do all that stuff? When you're talking about crores and crores of money with people coming in, the moment I think there'll be this thought which comes. I said, okay, most importantly, I want my parents to think I've taken care of myself. Forget the money. I know they're not going to ask money from me. But I want, psychologically, I want at least one of my children is settled. His life is, he's in some IT company. Every year he'll get a salary. He will do something. He will go to the US. And so it was more a question of being a statement to the society saying that my family is not that dumb. My next generation will come and take over. And honestly, it was a necessity. Some money had to come from somewhere.
And that's how you
so I realized that and I knew that I have to, and when you know you have to do a job because you need to make money, it makes you very, very sad. And that's when you need that option of doing something else which satisfies your soul.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you two questions there, both are related. Did you at any point in time feel like a victim of circumstances and feel self-pity for yourself that you should actually be doing something else but you're doing something else?
Honestly, not at all. I think I'm bloody lucky. Okay, I don't deserve to be where I am today. Right, salaries in software. I don't think the money I got was equal to the work I did. I think Mahesh is here, who's a very senior IT man. Maybe you won't agree to this, but I think lots of us in IT got paid more than what we did because of the boom in that industry. Theatre, I just started off casually, and today, I'm a recognized theatre actor. Films, people like Karthik Krishnan sir, who put me on to big people, made it happen. So I don't think I deserved any of these things. So
I never had that feeling with you.
No, I am lucky. I've got in life. I've got more than I deserve. So I should be thankful to
this
that.
This is a great way to look at life. I just want to amplify this point and go to part B of that question, which is that we can look at life with scarcity thinking, or we can look at life with abundance thinking. I think scarcity thinking comes when you imagine that you should be getting something else, but you are getting what you're getting. Whereas abundance is about, wow, this is fantastic, given whatever it is, this is fantastic. And I think abundance thinking always generates happiness. This is what we have learned from our experience too. And there's absolutely no point self-pity, blaming others, the circumstances. When it has happened, whatever has happened, and you've got to deal with it. That's it.
Theatre wouldn't have happened if it didn't happen.
Exactly.
So why should I be...
Ramesh is not here, but there is a Rumi quote coming to my head, which is, Rumi says, everything in this life is rigged in your favor. It's so beautiful. Everything in your life is rigged in your favor. Okay, there's a conspiracy. So theatre was part of that conspiracy, but as human beings, especially given the rat race we run as corporate animals, right? We may tend to get sucked into that vicious cycle of meeting deadlines, targets, growing teams, becoming bigger than the organization in our mind, and imagining that the organizational goal is all what our life is all about. How did you stay away from that temptation to be part of that IT rat race, and how did you balance theatre in your life? Because without that balance, without staying connected with theatre, you wouldn't be where you are today. You might have lost contact. Many people drift away, right?
Yeah, actually, because of the rat race, I took the mouse, is what I tell people, right? So, yeah, but actually, I was and I am not very ambitious as a person. So one of the things in the IT world is the desperation to go to America, to get the dollars, to become vice president, young president, vice president, all those things, right? Bigger teams, bigger money, bigger salaries, bigger profile, allowances and this. I wanted to take a project which is the least, least rejected project, not least demand, least banda project, least on your face project, so that I can go and do my rehearsal.
Wow.
Right? So projects which are maintenance projects, as we call in IT, which are boring, crappy projects, it's and nobody wants to do it. There are two good things. These maintenance projects never end. So once you get into that project for 2-3 years, you can settle down in that, right? And chances of you exceeding time, beyond time, and going to the US, travel and all that will become much less. But you will hate it. But then, what are you doing it for? You're still in. Nobody outside knows. Cognizant lower பண்றாரு. அவரை என்ன பண்றாருன்னு எனக்கு தான் தெரியும். But அப்படி சொல்லி நம்ம தப்பிக்கலாம். Point is, the public image is taken care. You're not going to be paid a pittance. You're going to be paid a decent salary, and because of the vicious cycle of appraisals and downraisals, you will end up getting some money or the other. So as I told you, you're already overpaid. So this is still more than what you deserve. At the cost of it giving you the time to do what you want to do without people complaining about it. The other thing is, it actually makes your work very efficient. Today in an IT, I don't know how it is today, 7 years ago I left it, but today in an IT company, in those days, every coffee break, anybody calls, they'll go. But coffee kudichu vandirupaan. Coffee kudichu vandirupaan. Chance kadicha poiduvaanga. Or 7-8 coffee break. When you know you have a 7 o'clock rehearsal, all this crap will get cut.
Right.
Your time planning will become brilliant. You won't unnecessarily go and hang out with someone. சும்மா ரொம்ப நாள் செப்டி இருக்கேன். இந்தியாவில் மட்டும்தான் இதெல்லாம் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஏதோ ஒரு கேபினில் போய் உட்காந்துங்க. அப்புறம் போட்டாங்க நல்லா சௌக்கியமா. ஐடிக்கு இதுக்கு என்னடா சம்பந்தம்? அதில் அப்புறம் வீட்டில் போய் பேசிக்கேன். Right? So all this extra talk, crap, unnecessary you go to a floor in IT, in a company, you're supposed to meet somebody and come. But அங்கே போய் நாங்கள் எல்லாரையும் விட்டுறாரு உறவினர் எல்லாரையும் பார்த்துட்டு வருவோம் நம்ம. அந்த இடத்துல போயிட்டு அப்படியே அவனையும் பார்த்துட்டு வரலாம், இவனையும் பார்த்துட்டு வரலாம். ஏன்னா வெளியூருக்கு போயிட்டு சொந்தக்காரங்களை போய் பார்க்க போகிறேன். ஸோ அதெல்லாம் கட் ஆகிடும். Because in your mind you're always working backward. 7 o'clock rehearsal நம்ம பார்க்கலாம் போனோம்னா நம்ம 6 மணிக்கு கிளம்பணும். 6 மணிக்கு கிளம்புனா 5:30 மணிக்கு இந்த காலை முடிச்சுட்டு அந்த so everything starts in fact I encourage a lot of people, if you're doing so-called core work or something, have something fantastic in the evening. It could be anything. It could maybe you want to have a joint in the evening, doesn't matter, but plan with that and go backward. Believe me, your life what you will miss out a lot because of theatre, which stalwarts like Kavitya Krishnan sir would agree to, is that your social life goes for a 6. Because your life is only between going to the company and then going back for the rehearsal. அங்கே போய் டேரக்டர் திட்டு தான் வாங்க போகிறோம். பட் இருந்தாலும் அதுதான் லைஃப். ஸோ இந்த எக்ஸ்ட்ரா இந்த சாட்டர்டே சண்டே ஹேங் அவுட், ஆல் தட் கோஸ் அவே. பட் எஸ், த பேலன்ஸ் ஹேப்பன் only because I was sure that my heart is completely on theatre, but my life has to be dependent on the IT world because that's the only thing I know professionally. And what do you do best? Something you have to give up. What do you give up? Don't get into high profile projects and don't fight for.
Did you get them? I mean, did they come your way and you said no to travel?
Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, not only no to travel, I remember going to the US on one particular assignment where I had a visa where we are supposed to install a particular application. The time given was 3 weeks. I finished it in 1 week. Only because that next Monday was a audition for a play.
And you came back?
I came back. Saturday I was there.
Wow.
I worked 14 to 15 hours a day. Because I don't care. On Monday morning I am there in the play. I don't care. At the most I'm going to lose this job. அப்போ இருக்கிற 4 மணிக்கு 100 கம்பெனி இருக்கு, கவனா ஜாயின் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஆனால் 100 பிளே கிடையாது.
That's a fantastic way of looking at it.
Yeah, so the point is, it actually, and a lot of opportunities I got where it would have been phenomenal in terms of the profile of the clients that we used to have those days, especially Y2K problem and all that used to have phenomenal projects. If you look at it today, maybe people at my level of experience in IT today, my colleagues, have all done much better financially. तेरे पास बंगला है, गाड़ी है, और मेरे पास theatre है. So I think I've lost out in that rat race, very happily and very proudly. And I said no to a lot of wonderful projects which I might have enjoyed, but there are no mights and might nots, right? I love this call that I've taken.
Fantastic, thank you. Lovely answer. Let's talk a little bit about how did Evam come into your life. Evam as an association has been around with you for more than 15 plus years now with Karthik, with Evam, Karthik,
Yeah.
and with the company itself, and later on you joined the company. We'll go to the joining part a little later. But how did Evam come into your life, that association?
And so practically he grew up in my house.
Mhm.
He used to live in Mandavali, we used to live here, and we still live in Senatoff Road.
Mhm.
And because of Anil, my brother, they were very, very close. They were schoolmates and they were very, very close, and he spent a lot of time. And he used to be interested in theatre even those days. So me and Karthik were, again, Gopi can, he's the authority of Chennai theatre. By the way, those who don't know, Mr. Gopi Nair.
Yes.
He is one of the stalwarts of English theatre in Chennai, from the Madras place. So I think all the young boy roles in those years, in the 90s, it was Karthik and me. So the Karthik, nicknames like Mari, Karthik, Karthik. So the nicknames. So I want to the passionate anecdote. Mithran Devanesan, again, I consider him to be my godfather in theatre. He's not there with us. We used to take plays. We used to go to USIS, British Council, take plays, read it, and see plays where both of us have good roles, and go and give it to Mithran. Mithran, this can be done very, very well by Yusuf. This can be done very well by எல்லா பேரும் எங்க பேர் சொல்ற எல்லா பேரும் சொல்லுவாரு. 10 பேர் சொல்லுவாரு. அவன் தான் இருப்பான். Yasrab. So the man names along he'll suit this very good. Yasrab will suit this very Karthik Iyer will suit this role very well. So the point is, we were very passionate about theatre, and even when from the beginning, he always wanted to start something on his own so that we can do what we want to do. He went off to Micah and he said, when I come back, we're going to do something together, and I want you to be part of it. He came back, and as promised, he started Evam in 2003. And he said, come, you must be my first actor. I said, I'm a little very conservative still. I'm still the typical IT job, even that rehearse So that's how the association with Evam. So day one of Evam, I've been there with them. I've always been one of their primary actors. The good old days, we used to do only theatre. And being a very close friend, of course he used his bias to make sure I was in every play. So that's where the association started in 2003. And by the time we became pretty popular and we did a lot of plays, and we had a fantastic audience. In fact, 2003 to 2010, I guess, we had probably the best audiences for English theatre in Chennai. That's when this unfortunate happening in Chennai called stand-up comedy happened.
I was about to ask you that question. It is with a very somber note that you introduce stand-up comedy into this conversation. But
I think it's very seasonal because today's IPL is happening, right? So stand-up comedy is IPL. But I will remember the Tendulkar, the Gavaskars, the Kapil Devs, and the Amarnaths, and the Chappells, and the Vivian Richards of the world. I don't even remember half the players. Cricket audio 6 boundary the runner So for me, it's entertainment. I don't consider it to be an art form.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, what has happened is, as this T20, everybody at home is watching T20. Ask them to watch Test cricket, nobody is watching. Can you see Test matches being filled? Very rare, 5 days. So what has happened is, along with it, it's innovation. It's very tough to play those kind of strokes. Like if you take stand-up comedy in T20, it's the same. Nobody can play the kind of strokes like stand-up comedy. Suddenly, or joke at crowd in the name of cricket. In the name of art, stand-up comedy. Freedom of expression. Stand-up comedy. I'm personally against it. Okay.
But you also had a very long stint with Evam, where you did a lot of comedy, to the extent that we perceived you as a mainline comic.
That's exactly.
So how is it that you done that and exited from it very gracefully, or very deftly rather? And how is it that you believe that there is still a future for serious theatre? In the face of the onslaught of stand-up and
I'll just answer the last question first. I'm not very sure about the future of serious theatre. I'm very worried. I hope I can say we will overcome and all that. I'm very worried about it. Stand-up comedy is not the reason for it. Stand-up comedy is one of the reasons for it. Now, I was in stand-up comedy. I was probably Evam's first stand-up comedian. Because when we performed it those days, it was not called stand-up comedy. We were just coming and talking. What was the first show? First show was 6 of us talking 6 minutes about our life. we said, why should plays only be about actors coming, performing and going? Why don't we break that wall and say, hey, by the way, my name is Karthik, I want to tell you something about my life. And automatically it brings you closer to the actor. So the next time I go on stage, you feel it, you know the real me. And we shared a real serious, like I was talking about finding a girl to get married. It was a pretty serious piece, and they started laughing. Right? And they realized that people are desperate to laugh. People think when you're on stage, your job is to make them laugh. So they are desperate for this escapism. Everybody, the escapism I talked about, everybody wants to come to somehow, give me something to laugh. Moonchi pannu, face pannu, avana thitti, ivana thitti, enapdiya sirikave. May don't make me think. And the man tension la na paaradhu na varla. So unfortunately or accidentally it became a stand-up comedy.
Okay.
And then we realized people loved that. In fact, they hated our play. They loved those in-between pieces. So then we thought, why not make it 10 minutes, 15 minutes? So that's where the stand-up comedy thing started. And everybody had stories to tell. And they thought, at the end of the day, an artist thinks the only way he knows an audience likes him is when he laughs. What about a serious piece of theatre you're doing? He's not going to clap. He's not going to say anything. You as an actor should know he's liking you. So, and it's easy. Financially also look at it. What is the investment? I just need a mic. I can stand here and do stand-up comedy for you. And I make money for a play, set, light, rehearsal process, costumes, music, so many things, planning, so many things, and hoping people will come and watch you. And it never breaks even. So the world of entertainment started going towards stand-up comedy because it's easy money. You can travel anywhere in the world, it's just one or two people, it doesn't need anything else, and everybody makes money, audience is happy, I am happy. What is lost is art is lost. Who gives a damn? So when in my case, I started like that and it was great. As an actor, I also like my audiences loving me. But the only problem was I never used to use swear words. And every stand-up comedy was swearing at me for not using swear words. Rules, stand-up comedy, so for me, I tell a funny story. In between, there are moments where you laugh. I'm a storyteller. You call it actor, you call it stand-up comedy, you call it singer, whatever. I am a storyteller, boss. Some of it is funny, some of it is serious. But if you start working, I have to give you 20 minutes. Say, place la na paathirken. Sir solvaru. 1,000 jokes in 10 minutes. So I think what happened? Over time, I realized that this art, stand-up comedy, is very tough. It needs invention every day, and those who are doing a great job, salam. I cannot be at your range. But the problem for me is that it only becomes about the audience and nothing about the performer. Where is my investment in it? Every time I do it, I look at it. Please see. At one point in time, the artist should think, what are you doing inside? Why is it all outside?
That answers my other question. Please continue. In fact, I had a question. How did you finally stay away from all the lure and magic of fame that would have come to you with being a stand-up comic, which you were very good at?
Yeah, I think it's like every the people go through the phases in life. For me, it became meditation. I needed to reach inside to figure out what am I doing as an artist? Why should I need validation all the time? And I'm not putting down comedy per se, but comedy's only reason to be in existence seems to be to make the other guy laugh, not to make you a better performer. If you take Tamil cinema, for example, if you take an actor like Nagesh, for example, his idea was not to crack jokes. He believed as comedy as an art. And that's why what is a good performer? A performer is a good performer, somebody who takes you from there and brings him here. Stand-up comedy is the other way, where I somehow go and fall at your laps. This should be the way of doing it. And then I realized that as an actor, I want to wow the world and myself with the depth of emotions that I can reach to. Because emotion is real human beings. Laughter is one part of humanity. Emotions is real humanity. Are we laughing all the time? So what am I catering to 5% of your life? I would rather cater to 95% of your heart, which is about emotions, which is about reality, which is about struggle, which is about thinking, which is about philosophy. And that's when I realized that, I've had shows where there's only one person. I went and performed in the UK. That was a seminal moment where I performed a very serious 1-man, 1-hour intense piece of theatre. And I had one person watching after I spent all my money in life just to go to that trip. And that made me feel like, it didn't matter to me whether that person was there or not. Because I went off inside my zone. And that's when I realized that, this is going to be my meaning. I'm not going to go for cheap laughs. I'm not going to go for popularity. I'm going to go for things which matter to me. And if it really matters to me and I start performing it, it'll start mattering to you.
What he's just said is absolutely remarkable stuff. What does it matter to you? Indian that is very, very important. He used the word meditation. He said he doesn't need validation. I think many of us start from the point of, what is the other person going to say when I perform? And I think in a way, that UK moment, which you talked about just now, one performer, 1 hour solo performance for which you went all the way, must have been very, very awakening for you. Must have been liberating.
Yeah, to me that was is the next phase of my life, that moment, August 1st, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I think I shed off my old skin,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that this is going to be the longer me. What I've done till now is maybe a build up to this moment. August 1st, 2013, my life changed. Because also mentally I was going through another, a very, very close family member was on his last stages of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was unsure whether I should even go there or not, knowing that he's going to go off any other. He's a person who I treat like my own. So all that came together, and that if I'm able to concentrate in spite of all this happening around me and the amount of money I've lost coming to the UK, knowing that, we dream. Our stage is more on, so all of us want that moment, right? That's all. All this is only you can think. You have a choice now, say, I'm not going to perform. Or say, dude, you know what? I'm going to perform. How many times have you seen a show done only for you? I'll give you that experience today. And how many times have I had a chance to perform only to one person? Let's do it. It's even better than rehearsal. In rehearsal, there's nobody watching. Here, there's a paying public who says, I know there's nobody in the room with me, but bloody well, I'm going to watch your show, man. So, and at the end of the show, all I knew was that I was Ali, the character who I played.
That was the Ali J play?
That's the controversial Ali J play.
Ali J,
right?
which was banned in India.
It was banned in India. So that moment transformed me, and when, sorry to use the thing, the Pakistani gentleman in the audience came and thought I was a Pakistani, I realized I've reached my point.
You have reached your point. Fantastic, fantastic. His sharing that UK moment of Ali J, I'm glad you named the play. I'm very unfortunate that it's banned and we cannot watch it in a performance here in India. But that reminds me of what Osho had to say. Osho says, when you create something, you disappear from the scene. It's not you. Osho says the creator works through you. You offer yourself as an instrument. That is how real art is born. That's what Osho says. And so when you start looking at validation and you say, I expected 1,000 people to be there, you've lost that opportunity for art to be born through you. But the opposite happened for him, where he saw that one member in the audience and decided to perform to what he believed was his joy. Amazing, amazing, truly profound, truly. Thank you for sharing. Around the end of 2011, two things happened for you around the end of 2010 actually. A couple of interesting movies came your way. Nanban came your way. That very, very memorable character of Rakesh, the price tag Rakesh that you played. That was working with a big time director like Shankar. Then Life of Pi happened for you, where you work with Ang Lee. And then you also did a very fairly successful commercial film, Deva Tirumagal. All of this happened around the same time. And then something also happened around that time, towards the turn of that year, 2011, sometime early 2011, where you decided to quit your job with Cognizant and join Avam to be part of their training division. So, was that an important phase in your life? Did it require decision making, and how did you take your decision to give up a 2-decade-old IT career?
Actually, a lot of things. There are only twice in life when this has happened, where all things came together at the same time and something had to give. First time was this 2010 November. Second time was about a month ago, when 3 movies came my way and cinema strike happened. So something is going to happen when everything comes your way. So, right. So going back to the 2011 point, I was very lucky. In fact, I'm happy Mahesh is here because he's been part of that part of the journey, because he was very senior to me in Cognizant, and he's been with Cognizant forever. I had a phenomenal boss called Sukumar Rajagopal, and just as I was doing well in Cognizant and we had a wonderful team and things were going well, all these three things happened together. And see, the normal tendency for everybody is, every leave கேட்கறது, boss என்ன சொல்லுவாரு. That is all we think. We don't think about should we take it, should we not take it. It's all about permission. எப்படி சொல்றது, PL, CL, DL, BL, OL எல்லாம் போட்டு அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாமா, இந்த லெவலில் தான் நம்ம யோசிப்போம் தவிர the bigger meaning of சுகுமார் ராஜகோபால் வந்து how many people get a chance to work with Ang Lee? How many people get a chance to do a movie with Vikram? And Shankar himself was calling you, are you a fool? Of course you should do it. We are all going to be here only. Where are we going? That's how he spoke to me. He's a man who also tried different things in life and he doesn't believe in the structured way of looking at it. I think that was a phenomenal thing because till that time in IT, whatever I worked, it's always been a traditional boss-employee relationship. That man made an impact saying that, look for something which is meaningful in your life. Don't look for this petty things like salary and validation again, right? So I think that played a huge part in my decision. And also at the same time, I was very passionate about changing the way training is done. All of us have attended trainings. What is the first thing you think of when you think of training? Like Maya said, sleeping. Or PowerPoint presentations, sitting in a chair.
Death by PowerPoint.
Death by PowerPoint. And the Kohli was the sweet. T-shirt cutting by the end of this. So point is pointless. So I said, why? Here, I'm an actor. And I love presenting things. Why don't we? And I've always been, in that period I've also started doing theatre workshops for people in Chennai, with Ego. But as a freelancer, from 2005 we've been doing theatre workshops for a lot of people who wanted to get into theatre in Chennai. So why don't we make that professional? Is how. And if I said theatre workshop, there are not enough takers for theatre. That's when I realized we should go to the corporates and say, you know what, we'll train you but in our style. The problem with training is that the training happens to be from me, for me to do my job. And to get a tick off from the HR saying the training happened. I don't care about who the participant is. If you have learned great, just tick off saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2.5. I don't care, put 0, man. Nobody's going to look at the sheet of paper after that, right? So why don't we make training more impactful? When is a story interesting? One, you read a story. Maybe you'll remember the story. Next, you hear somebody tell you the story. Third, you see somebody perform the story. What if you are the story and you perform the story yourself? So we went to that fourth saying that if I'm going to a workshop, you are going to be the actors, the dancers, the musicians, the singers. But what we are going to talk about is not dance or music. We are going to talk about strategy, innovation, ideation, goal setting, change management, leadership, whatever it is. But through art. And so here these two people from Avon who are masters in marketing and entertainment, and here I was with a good balance between theatre and performance on one side, with corporate experience on the other side, which is important. I can't go to corporate and say I'm just an actor. They should recognize me as a... In fact, I just want to bring in Mahesh at this point in time with your permission. I remember meeting Mahesh about 12, 13 years ago in the salon. And I told Mahesh that, Mahesh, Cognizant na apply pannundren. நீ அதெல்லாம் வேற பண்ணுவியா, நீ ஆக்டர் நினைச்சேனே அப்படின்னு. So anyway, so that identity of a corporate is needed to go and sell a corporate workshop. The identity of an actor is not going to help you. In fact, it will take you away. So all the three stars came together, and it's not a eureka moment actually. 2010 onwards, Karthik and Sunil, the other partner, have been on my head saying, you should do this, you should do this. I looked at it, not andalala yosikla. Can I do something every day for the sake of that day and not for the sake of the first of the month for the salary?
What a brilliant thought. Can you say that again? Can I do everything?
Can I do something every day for the sake of that day instead of the sake of the first of the next month to get that salary?
Fantastic.
Right? I make it something or not, but do I have to every day look up and say, 13th, 14th, 15th, hey, 14th vandrukala adha chedadu pannenda. So in today's world, either what do I get to do? Either I act or I train. Both are phenomenal, both are acting, both are performance, both have an audience. Unfortunately, they don't have an escape. Right? So the point is, your passion is coming out. The money will maybe come, maybe not come. But do you want to live 29 to 30 days in a month, every day in the morning, going back in the evening saying, Kalai only need no more. And the 4 பேர் என்ன கை தட்டினானுங்கல்ல, சல்லி காசுக்கு பிரயோஜனம் இல்லை, பட் எவ்வளோ கை தட்டினானுங்க. Instead of saying, இன்னைக்கு வந்துட்டா, இன்னைக்கு அசைன்மெண்ட் முடிக்கலையா, வெயிட்லி அந்த கிளைண்ட் இன்னைக்கு என்ன திட்டானா, கர்மம் வந்து அடுத்த மாதம் சேலரி வாங்கிட்டு காரணம் அந்த கம்பெனி விட்டு. So that for me was it was again an escapism. I wanted to live a life where I enjoy 80% of the month, not 1% of the month.
Fantastic. Let me ask you, when you take make a choice like that, you're obviously leaving a lot of money on the table, and possibly career growth,
Absolutely.
and all of that. You know, the material benefits are huge. Coming from a background of dealing with the bankruptcy back home and the shortage of vitamin M being there, was it at any point surreal for you that you were making a choice to stay away from the material benefits?
Actually, I was feeling a little guilty, not for me, but for my parents, because they would have hoped that after all the struggles we've gone through, finally I got into a good job, a good organization, at a good position, and only looking upwards. A lot of your life is still behind you. That guilt I still have every day. I know my parents have never ever said, why did you do it? They've never asked me these questions. They've never asked me why. I wish they had asked me. So we'll talk about that word why, which is very special in my life. But what I also see is, like I told earlier, what the greatest joy a child can give a parent is happiness, more than money. So they see their child coming home every day happy, without any complaints, without saying that inniki moonji thukin. Hey, avan vandale edho or joke or comedy, avan vandale veedu light aagunda. Basically, avan happy irukanda, poichiranda. I think that is what I think every child should be able to give their parents. Of course, money will, like you said, vitamin M is important, but vitamin S is even more important.
I think it's again a very profound thought. Can we look at our children and say, are you happy? If they are happy, that should fill our hearts. Amazing thought. Amazing. உங்களுக்குள்ள இவ்வளவு பெரிய ஒரு philosophical point of view அடங்கி இருக்குன்னு நான் இதுவரைக்கும் தெரிஞ்சு.
யார் கேட்டாங்க இதுவரைக்கும்?
Okay, on that note, I think it is very important to ask you something very pertinent, which has been part of our promotion as well for this event, which is your poetry. So, how did poetry happen to you? And many of us are closet poets. How did you decide to dare and publish your work? And once you answer that, I have a request for you.
Sure, okay, I'll do the first part. First part started on a lie. In college, one of my friends, classmates, was in love with a girl. And he said, if you poem long impress panna you poem எழுதுவியா அப்படினா எழுதுனேன் யார் எழுதுறாங்க சும்மா சொல்லி விட்டேன் எங்க இருந்து ஒரு poem சுருட்டி வந்து என் poem கொடுத்துட்டேன் the bigger point is that அந்த love affair set ஆகல ஃபெயில் ஆயிடுச்சு அது மனசுக்குள்ள ஒரு சந்தோஷம் அதை பத்தி அப்புறம் பேசுவோம் the two things happened. He came back and said, she wants to know the meaning of this poem. Girls, why do you do this? Just take it as a nice gift and be happy, go. எனக்கு தெரியாது எப்பவுமே நான் எங்க அப்பெல்லாம் கூகுள் ஒரு மண்ணு கிடையாது என்னதான் கண்டுபிடிக்கும் அவன் பயங்கரமான வேர்ட்ஸ் கூட சாத்திருக்கான் கேட்கறதுக்கு அழகா இருந்தது அதனால நான் இது கொடுத்துருவேன் திரும்பி எனக்கு so it also made me feel miserable saying that அவன் என்ன சொன்னான்றது so it was a trigger that I actually have lied to my friend and written a poem, and that poem actually has impressed her. And so which means that poetry has got such a powerful and I was in a time in life where I was in college culturals, impressing girls, boys, everybody, anything to impress I'll do. And summa அந்த மாதிரிலாம் சென்டிமென்ட்லாம் போட poetry அப்படிலாம் சொன்னா கொஞ்சம் எல்லாம் பண்ணுவான்ற ஒரு மனசுக்குள்ள ஒரு thrill. So actually it was that it started, and actually like most of us, every poet has fallen in love or fallen out of love. So right, and I think I was madly in love with the girl, and my way of communicating to her was every moment I spent with her was a poem for me.
Wow.
So I used to go back and write it, and I was in a situation where I couldn't give it to her every time because of her circumstances, family, and that's another story, another day for itself. That is the lover's soul. We'll do that yeah. So it started off with me expressing something. 90% of the poems I wrote, or 80% of the poems I wrote, was for that one girl. And if you read my poems, you realize most of them are sad. Right? So I think that is what made me write it. And the moment she went away from my life, actually I stopped writing. I didn't write a single poem after she went out of my life. And till that time I didn't share my poems with anybody other than her, because these are my diaries. I mean, that's why the title of the poem is also diary, right? And she used to call me the Mad Hatter.
Oh, okay.
Right, and so it became Diary of the Mad Hatter. And her favorite word, every time we meet, why? Why this? So my first poem was why, right? So then why did I decide to publish it? So I realized that over time, when especially in the internet age and all that, you will have people seeing something you've written. You can't hold it. Zuckerberg has proved that nothing is yours, right? Right. So somebody read something and somebody read and says, very nice, beautiful. And luckily they related to it. They didn't think of who's standard questions beginning. But over time they said, you know what, it relates to me. It makes me think about something else in my life. The poem actually makes that the beauty of poetry is it's open-ended. So you read and it may make the complete contra meaning to you. So I realized that, you know what, I think I've got written enough stuff which I think I should share with the world. And the best way of sharing it to the world is make it a little more meaningful. In a very romantic way, I would say it's dedicated to her and all that. I don't think she's ever going to get this book. In a way, I've cheated on her because I've exposed all my stuff, and I feel a little bad that, you know, and it's sad. But I think the motivation was that I realized poetry is universal. And by the way, not all the poems are about love and love failure. That period also made me open. Love makes you do all sorts of things, right? And it made me open up to a lot of things. So my cognizance of the world around me. In fact, you see a lot of poems about war, poems about the 26/11. I've written something. All these things made me, everything I wanted to express. I can't write stories. I can write it only in verses.
Though you're a good storyteller, you can't write stories.
Yeah, somebody should listen and write it. So I think, and to tell a story in 12 to 16 lines and to paint the entire canvas with it, I thought it was much more phenomenal than, you know, writing a lot and trying to, what I was trying to say was, no, you understand, right, there are only 16 lines or 12 lines, but I'm sure all your lives are, brevity is the soul of wit, right? That's what Shakespeare said. So poetry written from the heart will definitely impact everybody when they read it. And it's impacted people. Gopi's daughter, who's a phenomenal singer, she's composed 3 of my poems into songs. Right. So poems do different things to different people. For her, it's a song. Right? For somebody else, it's a lover's dilemma. For somebody else, it's something which he doesn't understand. For somebody, it's a show-off. You know, so that's the reason why I put it up and published it.
We do have the book here. A Diary of the Mad Hatter. Verses written from the ink of my, the verses written with the ink of my soul, right? Verses written with the ink of my soul.
Actually, part of it was written with ink.
Seriously, handwritten.
Yeah, handwritten, you know, and that's very special. And
very special. So, would you pick one and read it out for us tonight? Your choice.
Can I just call somebody and ask them to read out a poem?
Oh yeah, you.
Who wants to read out a poem? Just come. Anybody?
Someone.
Come on. It's easy. It's just 12 lines.
Pavitra, come.
Come. Pavitra, you've been named.
Yeah.
Come. I like to listen to a girl's point of view on some of these poems. Come.
Come. Let's make this like interesting, yeah?
Yeah. It's a very simple poem. It's
Right.
the simplest of everything else is complicated. Yeah.
The Song of True Love. I blessed the day I found you, when the sunshine kissed my heart. Please let me be around you till death do us part. I hum the tune of true love in everlasting song. One day I'll come to you, love, and take our dreams along. I send you all my longing for you and me in life. If you were my belonging, I'll call us man and wife.
Simple.
So I read something which is inspired by a blind man I keep seeing in Madhavali bus stand. Okay, that man inspired me to write this. Okay, so it's not love and all; it's other things also I've written. So that's it. So imagine this as a poem told as a story to you by that blind man. See, the special thing about that man is, that man, I've been seeing him for 20 plus years now. And this gentleman is always dressed very neatly. Shirt tucked in, hair neatly combed, wearing those black glasses, and he's got that stick with him. And whenever somebody tries to help him, he'll just say, you know, he's like, that confidence, that made me, what would he go through when people come and ask, try to help him. So it's called blind sight. The word itself is an oxymoron, I think, right? So I am blind, I cannot see the world. There is darkness at noon, oneness at night. I know that the world watches me with pity, with pain. I just want to tell you all, thanks for the concern, I don't need any. Can you all hear the whispers of the world? Can you feel the winds of love soothing your soul? And the raindrops in their rhythmic dance. Can you hear? I am only blind, you see, but you have closed the eyes of your heart. The only thing I see is the oneness in this world. Everyone is equal in my eyes, aren't they? The pauper and the prince, the killer and the priest, they are all just human to me. If only I can give my vision to you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. There's so much, I can only say that in Hindi, bhajan hai. There's depth. There's depth. Depth is not the word in Hindi, but
बदन नहीं है लेकिन वजन है.
बदन नहीं है लेकिन वजन है. Okay, one last question before we go to the audience for their questions. When you look at your life and career as an actor, you did talk about this meditative, reflective awareness that brings you phenomenal joy. But have you ever felt that you deserve more for all that you are? Somebody wrote to me saying he's a powerhouse of talent, and it's wonderful that you have him on your show. Somebody else said he's a great artist. He can imitate many people, including M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar. I think Edgy wrote that.
Okay.
So I did receive a lot of mails from people when they received Karthik's invite. So do you feel your art has not been recognized ever? Do you think about it?
Yeah, right now. Where are those people who made? That's the problem, right? Mail na panna vaanga sir. But I go through that phase where I think I've not been recognized enough is every artist's lament. I think what I feel bad is the world has become very stereotyped in what they consider to be promotable. They only want to look at certain things as promotable. Like stand-up comedy comes there. What is angst about stand-up comedy is once sponsors and promoters and audiences have fallen prey to that, to get them to come back to test match is going to be very difficult. And if I give you a chance of having a ball of a life, have a ball of a time, and go and think about Nietzsche, and pontificate on life, you don't want to take that, right? Because as an artist, so I think the world is being spoon-fed with things where you don't have to think. Just do. You have a word, you have a doubt, go to Google and check the meaning. Otherwise auto-corrected. You don't even have to write anymore. You write 2 letters, the 3 letters are filled up for you. So my angst is that the Chennai theatre community, at least English theatre, I'm not nobody in Tamil, we have not actually come together as one community. It's always been me for myself. Because it's always considered to be an amateur art form. It's never considered seriously. But within that amateur art form, there is so many issues, politics, problems and all. Take Bangalore for example. They have a space like Ramashankara, which is a centralized place for theatre. Where is that space in Chennai? You may ask me, what are you doing? I'm as guilty as the rest of them who keep coming and talking about these things. There is no coming together as a community in theatre. Every other social form of life in Chennai seems to have community. Whether working out, gymming, running community, everything has got a community. This doesn't seem to have a community feel. It's just been me for myself kind of thing. So biggest angst I have is, like me, there are a million actors who are probably more phenomenal than me, but they don't even want to trying this art form. They want to rehearse for 2 days and go on stage on the 3rd day. Right? So the regret is, my case is that today's cinema, a lot of people are recognizing me to some level. I wish these guys were around 20, 23 years ago when all of us started. Like me, there are so many other actors who would have made it big time into Tamil films. But even now, they are only looking at the comedy side of me, right? The biggest yearning is that I wish some actor, some director calls me and says, can you act? I want you to do a role. Instead of saying, sir, sama comedy sir. நீங்க பண்றீங்க. நான் கூட சொல்லணும்னு ஆசைப்படுவேன். ஒன்று பண்ணுங்க, ஒரு 10 நாள் உங்களோட இருக்கேன். ஒரு 100 சீன் எடுத்து வச்சுங்க. எந்த படத்துல எப்போ வேணா யூஸ் பண்ணே போங்க. அவ்வளவுதான் என்னால பண்ண முடியும்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க நீங்க. ஸோ எல்லாம் நீங்களா ஒரு காமெடி எடுத்து வச்சிங்க, அந்த படத்தில் வச்சு விட்ருங்க. நான் நடிக்கிறேன், you don't want me acting because you want the bigger actors to do it. Malayalam cinema, for example, I'm so much in awe and respect of that film world. I wish I get to do Malayalam films because there seems to be value for actors. Right? I recently did an ad in Malayalam, and I realized the way they think about stories. It's just an ad, but I love the way they thought about the story. So my angst is we need a lot more patronizing for theatre from people who can. And a lot of people have a lot of money and wherewithal, and it's not just the actors in the acting community, it's the public. They should demand quality theatre. They should say, I'll get the investor, I'll get the promotions, but give me a show which is world class. Don't say, we only rehearse in the evening. Give me a quality. I know the kind of quality of theatre actors we have in Chennai, even some of the older guys who are still around, right? But who's going to put them together and create magical stuff? Now, I want patrons to come and say, I want this.
That's your regret.
Angst,
There is a
green,
regret,
yeah, that's a regret that theatre has not been given its due in Chennai by the actors and the public.
And you're waiting for that call where you will be asked, can you act?
I am waiting for the call when somebody says, I'm going to use you as an actor. Let's put it there. Can you act? I say, I'm going to use you. It's happened a couple of times in films, but not as much because stereotypes are big in cinema, unlike theatre. Right. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Over to you for your questions. I'm timing it, so we'll go as far as we have time. Anybody? Yes.
So, this is to reflect on that golden era of theatre that you spoke about, 2003, 2010. And I totally see why you're saying that, because I also look back at that era with a lot of fondness, and there was so much good place to watch and to be a part of, in Chennai. There's two very contrasting roles that I would like to, that I remember you from. One is, of course, the comedy. You take a Neil Simon comedy, Barefoot in the Park, where you were dressed up as a woman. And the other is slightly more serious, like Love Letters. Now, among these two roles, which one do you identify yourself more with? I'm sure they must have given you equal amounts of satisfaction, there's no doubt about that. But personally, what satisfaction?
365 days of the year, 24/7, Love Letters.
And why?
It's very deep. It's beautiful. Letter writing is something which I'm fond of. And it's very personal. It's so beautiful that I can actually, for me the greatest joy as an actor is to make an audience cry, not make an audience laugh. It's very easy to make an audience laugh. But to make you smile is very difficult. The smile is reflective. Like that, to make you shed a tear without the background of film music and all that stuff. Just as an actor, live, raw actor, to make you cry with your performance. That is even more memorable for an actor. I'd rather remember the people who spat on my face because they thought I was really a bad guy, or cried because of the way I performed, or got moved by what they saw, than the people who laughed. So, Barefoot in the Park had people laughing throughout, which is nice. Once in a while, it's nice. But Love Letters. It's, by the way, it's among my top 3 plays of all time as a performer.
And the other two would be?
Ali J for sure. And I would say 39 Steps. Because we got 2 national awards for it.
It's not a question, just an observation. I don't know if Karthik remembers, I told him when he started off this creative journey of his doing theatre with Raj Chandra. Very ambitious he was, very hopeful, dreams. I told him there's one lacuna in Tamil cinema. They'll give you roles, they won't give you characters. So don't be disappointed if you don't get what you want. Accept what you get, keep moving. So this is essentially what has happened to his career. They give you roles. Sir, hero appa sir அப்படிமாங்க. அது ரோல். ஹீரோ நொண்டி அப்பா சார்னு சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. அது வந்து சத்யராஜ் சொல்லுவாங்க.
Correct.
சிந்து பைரவியில் நான் நடிக்கும்போது there are 3 drivers in the film. One was Mr. Shivakumar's driver, Sundaramurthy, the makeup director. He's got more footage than me, but he did not get the mileage I got. And I was the driver. Now I'm the party driver.
So the characterization.
Yes. So always the character.
So
I
it's
think
not
he's
the
one of
role,
the-
it's
Yeah, what he's saying is, he told me this. In fact, when I went for the day one of rehearsal, he told me this. On a cinema show போடுவாங்க நீ ஏமாந்து போவ ரோல் கொடுப்பாங்க ஆசைப்படாத
He's always prophetic.
Yeah, he told me this.
He's
He told me
always
this. I remember
prophetic.
this, 2009, he told me this.
I remember Mr. Bajaj was telling me, everything is destiny, so is Karthik. When, you know what I mean is, when Bajaj was telling me that, Rajini and Kamal both are supposed to be his discoveries. So he said, Kamal I would have met anyway, because he was in cinema before me. So across that journey, somewhere I would have met them and we would have connected and probably I would have made all those films and made with them. But Rajini, that was pure fate. I was there to judge some other program. And I had finished the program and I was walking back home. At one point, I just happened to turn back and look at a group of guys there. And one guy turned back and looked at me at that precise point.
And that led to...
And that I remember next day I said, call that guy. If he had not turned back, destiny would not have happened. That's what I said. One day he confronted me and thought, I didn't know this man from Adam. So I went to one thing called Supper Theatre, which is not in my, I don't move in those social circles. But Mohan Ram took me and I met him there. Suddenly out of the blue he came and said, I'm Karthik, I'm an actor. I want to act with KB. But he obviously knew that I was associated with him. And 2 days later I took him to KB. He was very surprised. He probably thought, just put our Tunda put a pagalam.
Tell us a little bit about that moment, Karthik. We still have some time, so that's an important point. You're meeting with KB and how that led to Nanban for you.
Yeah. Actually, so just quickly, I met him there and I knew that his name is Kavita Alakrishnan. So, and he's the closest we can even try to attempt to touch Mr. KB. And like most of us, until today, I'm a big fan of Mr. Balachandra. I don't know much, I've never seen theatre of Balachandra well before, so I don't know much. I didn't even know he was a theatre guy, honestly. So I said, I want to act with him in films. He said, he's not doing any films. So, but I want to meet him. He said, okay. I said, as usual, he's going to ask of the many people. Like, he was on the marriage, put papa. You were small, okay, and small perga, so kind of good. So, I got a phone money, I was shocked. So, he was casting for a play and
You did a play with KB?
I put two plays with KB.
Wow.
So, Purnami and Urkode Pasam. It happened 2009 and 2010.
Okay.
Right, and I can have a show just the experiences I learned from him and the way he looked at things. And I know how disappointed he was with people who came for rehearsals were only interested in beta and other things. And
I was secretary of the group.
Yeah. So then what happened was, one of the plays he did, Urkode Pasam, the play, he did directors or cinema special show where the audiences were only people from cinema world. So all the directors, technicians, Kamal Rajani, everybody were there. Mr. Shankar was also there in the audience. And he remembered that show, and a year later or so, through his assistant, he called me. He asked me, are you the guy who acted in KB's plays? You were the producer character.
That's how Nanban happened for you.
That's how I'm.
So in a way, I'm glad Krishnan brought up Krishnan brought up that destiny part of it. I think one thing leads to another, and we have to see our entire life as a beautiful grand design, which at one stroke seems inscrutable, but in hindsight, it all seems like Hrithik Roshan's character says in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. He says, "Sab kuch likha hua hai," and that's precisely what happened with you for Nanban.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on that note, I'm going to.
Final word, I think he's one of the most incredible actors Tamil cinema has ever seen.
He is a wonderful actor. He is a wonderful actor. It is for that reason that we invited him to be part of the artist's soul. But I'm actually taking away something far more deeper, far more beautiful. And what it is, while I frame my thoughts, I'm going to invite Kaveri to come forward to give away, to be part of a ceremony, not just give away something from wandering artist to Karthik, but to be part of a ceremony that we enjoy towards the end of every Artist Soul event, which is you have to autograph your own portrait. So we'll do that little ceremony now, here. Kaveri, please come forward. So Kaveri is the wonderful lady who runs Wandering Artists. Please come forward. She's an artist herself. You have to sign this, Karthik. I'll hold it for you.
Where do I sign?
You can sign it here and put today's date. Thank you. So that's Karthik's signature, and it'll go up on the Wandering Artist Wall of Fame. Yes. And this is from Wandering Artist to you. So Karthik, if you'd like to just sit back on the chair for a minute.
Can I
Well-
mention about the poetry thing which happened?
Oh, please mention that while I...
Yeah, so we are having a small show on the 6th of May at the Folly at Amethyst at around 6:30 p.m. So what we are doing is we are doing a rehearsed performances of some poems from my book with some incredibly wonderful actors. So the one thing about, I'll contradict myself here, about the coming together. Maybe as theatre groups we are not coming together, but actors, I asked about 13 actors, will they do me a small favor, and all of them said I'll do it for you. So we are getting 13 of Chennai's best actors to perform my poems. So it's not going to be just reading it out, it's going to be a performance. And yeah.
And that's on, and can you repeat
That's
the
on
date
the
again?
6th of May at 6:30 p.m. at the Folly inside Amethyst. So all are welcome, and I'm sure there's a call number where obviously like most places the number of seats are limited. So we'll share the mail soon with the numbers, and you can call up and block your seat, and hopefully it'll be nice if you can come in. So see the poems. It's very emotional when I'm seeing them rehearse. It's very emotional when they are coming and telling me this is what the poem means. I'm like, I only wrote it. Oh, I know what it means. It's great for an artist to see his work saying this is what it means. Just shut up and sit down. You know, it's great. But yeah, it'll be nice if you guys can turn up there.
So Karthik, it's been wonderful having you on the show. You are the first person in a Panchagajam on a bar stool in a show and filter copy. Yeah. So we exchanged a little note this morning on, is it okay to wear a Panchagajam? And I said, just be yourself. If that's what makes you comfortable, just be yourself. And I think from the word go, from the moment we started this conversation, one thing I'm seeing in this amazing person is his clarity. There's absolute clarity on life, and I think people evolve with experiences, people go through the highs and lows of life, but very few people emerge with amazing clarity, and you're just blessed for that, you know. The other beautiful takeaway for me is his message of happiness. Can you come home every day and feel thoroughly in bliss that you've had a great day and you're not waiting for the end of the month or the first of the month for your paycheck? That quality of happiness, can you bring into your work? Can your work speak from your soul? I think that's what I'm picking up again. And I will lean on my favorite poet Rumi, who said, the plants and the trees are all dancing out there. The plants and the trees are all dancing out there, but for the naked eye, they seem fixed and still. Why are the plants and trees dancing? Because they are enjoying the process of growing up. They are enjoying life, and they're not bothered about anything around them. I think to reach that quality, you need to be sure about what you are doing and what you love doing. And I think that clarity is there in you, Karthik.
Thanks, sir, because a lot of things you asked me, I don't think I've spent time thinking about, but you made me think about lots of my life, so it's good. Thanks.
That's why we call this the artist's soul, and we don't just say it's the artist's life journey. So all my guests receive what I call a conversation guideline in the morning of my events, and one of the points I do mention there is that it's not necessarily an autobiographical bio journey. We are not going into the biographical details of the journey, but we're looking at how have you expressed yourself through this lifespan. And that's what came out in your conversation too. Thank you so much. It was a thoroughly enjoyable conversation. We've had Puchi Venkat recording it for us, so we'll have the YouTube link up and running and share it with you shortly. Our next Artist Soul is back on the second Saturday of May, 12th of May, and we have rock star, cult figure in the field of filmmaking for wildlife and conservation awareness, Shekhar Dattatri. So please do join us. Another amazing conversationalist, but very reticent, very quiet, does not like to be in the limelight ever, lets his films do all his talkings. So we got him on the show. So please do join us, please spread the word. Anybody young in your circle who wants to make a career in wildlife, conservation awareness, filmmaking in that space, please do make sure these young people attend, because you can't get Shekhar Dattatri talking too many times about his life. Thank you so much, and see you on 12th of May.